Okay, folks, I cocked up. Did a video live yesterday, and I just got a message this morning from my lovely friend Helen Lodge. Helen, I love you. Thank you so much for that. To say, you know, that you did a video yesterday, Ro, but there was no sound on it. Well, actually, there might be people that are quite happy about that. Some people just want to go. So, for example, one of my daughters might be like that occasionally when daddy's telling them, you know, you need to do this. Okay, so I want to tackle this subject because we've just done a podcast on it. Very important podcast. If you haven't seen it or you are not following at the moment, go to www.cicada.com/podcast because we're actually hitting this one quite hard. I felt quite compelled to do this with Harminder just recently. Oh my gosh, shit, what a year, hey? So many people coming out of this whole experience, and what I'm finding is there's sort of different responses to how people are coming back into the world. Some people seem to be like, bang, let's just smash this, and they're just rocket launch, fantastic, and they're really bouncing back powerfully. Others not so much so, and I'm finding quite a lot of people are in this sort of quagmire. There's this really shitty apathy that hangs around, and I think, you know, if you look at it like this, has anyone heard of island fever? If you have, you might want to type in, yes, island fever. In the Caribbean, there's something called island fever. If you spend too long in the islands where everything's kind of manana, chilled out, often people get very relaxed. Go to South American countries. Some of the vibe around those countries is like that as well. I know because I've lived in some of them for quite a while, off and on. Whereas the Nordic countries, for example, it's like cold, chilling, everyone like, just got to get things done. When people have become unemployed, I used to coach actually with a job centre many years ago, like 20-something years ago. And I would help out with people. That I was telling this to somebody recently. They go to unemployment. And I'd be coaching people who are like, shit, I've just got to get back into work, got to get back into work, got to get back into work. And what I found was that if they hadn't got that momentum in the first 3 to 4 months, it would go. By the way, can you hear me? I'm assuming you can, but I'm assuming the sound is on. And they would slow down. And the psychology is fascinating when somebody was just getting fed, i.e., you know, they were getting social support. And it was weird because that same buzz they had before, they'd lost it. And I think COVID lockdown has done that. I think furlough, being locked down, people being constrained, TV, getting by, especially if you've been on a furloughed kind of salary where you haven't really had to do much, but you're still getting an income. It's quite scary. And actually, in the educational world, I'm seeing this at a magnified level, more so actually than the last recession we went through, where people are just like, fuck it, you know what, I'll wait and see. And fear is driving them. Apathy, but there's equally a sort of flip side to that, which is frustration. So I'm going to cover some stuff here with you, which is really important, and don't underestimate the impact of I know it's a free, short, like Facebook message, but I've coached a lot of people over the years, and sometimes just understanding one or two powerful questions can change your life dramatically, or maybe somebody you're working with, or business partner, whatever. So 3 things I want you to consider. Number 1, and we talk about this in the podcast. What is an emotion? Actually, I've got a few notes here I wrote down. What is an emotion that you are noticing and observing about yourself? Now, the best way to do this is to write it down on paper. Let me just come in because I've gone out of focus for a second. My camera's playing up a little bit at the moment, isn't it? Oh, maybe I need to switch my lighting around a little bit. So, are you feeling pissed off? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling frustrated? What else did I write down here? I wrote down, are you feeling apathetic? Oh, I've lost my notes. Are you feeling like anxiety? Whatever it is, capture it on paper. You get it down on paper because if you're like sticky, meaning you kind of want to get shit done, but for some reason you haven't got that same mojo, you haven't got that same flow, you haven't got that like that you had maybe a year ago or less. And you've got to establish what it is first. So first thing to do is write down the situations and the feelings that you've got going on around you. That's very important. Because a lot of people go, oh, you don't understand my job this, or you don't understand my financial situation this, or you don't understand my family situation this, or whatever it is. And that's typically what they might say to somebody else who's encouraging them, even if it's, say, for example, a coach. So the point I want to make here is that by writing something down on paper, you immediately get to a situation where you've got a sense of clarity of what your situation is. I cannot stress the importance of this. This is actually like critical. Do this properly and it's a game changer. Why is it a game changer? Because now you're seeing it on paper. When it's in your head, it's like noise. Oh my God, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling angry. You direct that frustration towards other people. It's an external kick at somebody else. So that's the first thing. Capture it on paper and try and group it into just general emotions. If I'm working one-to-one with somebody, I'll ask them the question, okay, of these things that you've just written down, which emotion is the most dominant? Oh my God, it's fucking anger. I'm feeling angry all the time. I'm angry at this, I'm angry at the government, I'm angry at COVID, I'm angry at wearing masks, or whatever it is. Okay, so that's the most important one, is it? Yeah, that's the one I'm feeling most. Okay, so now we start to shift to number 2, which is, what have you got control over and what don't you have control over? Every single one of you, me included, will have a set of situations around us that you actually have control over versus those that you have no control over whatsoever. And it's like, and the trouble is, if anger, give me a wave or a nod or a heart if this makes sense, but if anger is directed towards something you have no control over, it actually makes you more fucking angry. And also it kind of satisfies that need to try and get some kind of feeling inside you, which is like, well, at least when I'm angry, I feel alive. I get angry towards them, I get angry at the government, I get angry to my friend, my wife, my husband, whatever it is, my kids. And that's really frustrating and very damaging. So, simple solution. And if you watch the podcast, we go into this in a lot of detail, but identify what you've got control over and what you don't have control over. So if it's like, I'm kind of pissed off, angry, apathetic, whatever it is, towards these things over here, but I have no control over them, park them, just move them aside. And then identify the things that you do have control over. So actually, you know what, I have got control over this. I can change the way I feel about this. I can do something about it. I can bring a friend in. I can get some guidance, coach, whatever it is. So you shift your focus towards those. So number 3 is, okay, so remember, number 1, capture it on paper. Number 2, what have I got control over? I've got control over that, and that. Great. Those, I don't really have control over it. And in fact, you know what? I'm just getting annoyed, or whatever the feeling is. I'm going to park that over there. Now switch your focus. Boom. Now you just do one step at a time. What can you do to make is it a phone call? Is it is it a coach that's going to help you? Do you need to have a conversation with somebody? Is there a specific action? But the minute you can change the fact that you feel in control over the things that you're emotionally charged over, now you can make small steps. But all the time you're in the pot with the spaghetti and all the other things, like a massive casserole of emotions, you're fucked. Sorry, but you are, myself included. If I allow myself to go into a mess of stuff that's going on around me, you go, oh, what about that? What about that? What about that? You won't sleep, you're going to get stressed, and it's just going to make you feel wound up. So, simple rule of thumb, capture on paper, identify what you've got control over, part what you don't have control over, see the problem as it is and not worse than it is, and I talk about this in the podcast, and then focus on what the next thing is that you can shift. What can you actually shift with your own emotional state and some energy, some enthusiasm, and some actions? That's it. That's what I was trying to say on the last video that was completely silent. Hopefully that was useful. I shall see you on the next one. Take care, and go and listen to the podcast because it was like an hour and we really delved into this and there's some great tips there. So enjoy it. Take care.